Over the past few months, I've been working hard on rebuilding the systems in my life to achieve my goals, make time for new projects, and reduce the chaos in my everyday, all through tiny habits and building consistency. I overhauled my morning routine, started a new fitness program, and have been pretty surprised by the results I'm already seeing. I've also been working hard to do a weekly kitchen restock to help me reduce waste, build new skills in the kitchen, and basically automate all the tasks I want to get done. The same goes for our composting system. This isn't a task I enjoy very much, but again, building new routines to ensure the process is smooth has enabled me to reduce our food waste to zero and feed our garden with beautiful, nutritious soil. I just want to say a huge thank you to Copilot for sponsoring today's video, and to my coach for being there for me and helping me to achieve some of these goals that I honestly never thought were possible. Let's go back to my first video on new routines and see how far I've come in terms of my fitness journey. Now that I'm finally in one place for a long period of time, it's been so much easier to be consistent. So I think full body days are probably my favorite because they're really nice and concise, and you don't fatigue everything too much. You get to have a chance to do all the moves that you like. But around this time of day, we always like to go for a walk, especially now that the weather's getting really nice. We just try to go for, 15-20 minutes, sort of at lunchtime-ish, and it just really helps to get outside and just to get some steps in. Otherwise, I just sit at my computer all day, just like. The only thing is, I think I have adjusted to the elevation in Denver, but it's still a little hard.
So let's go into some specifics. So what exactly are you looking to gain from me as your coach?
I think my biggest thing is always going to be, I think, consistency. When something is very stressful, or I'm moving, or there's lots of things that have been going on, I find it very hard to stick to a schedule. And also definitely mobility and flexibility, because during the pandemic especially, when I just wasn't in a good mental space to do any actual exercise, I just did the same mobility routine like every morning and then switch it up and then every morning. And I just found that I just felt better. Like when I got up in the morning, I wasn't like this old woman. I just
freaking and cracking.
Yeah.
Yes, I want you to be stronger, but I'm not going to be like, no, Immy, keep doing it, keep pushing, because that's not enjoyable.
My goal last time was to get a pull-up, which I finally got. I guess I want to kind of like maybe build on that. Like that's one of my biggest goals, is to be better with Watching all this footage back, there are several things that really stood out to me. Consistency was clearly something of a hang-up, whether it be because I was traveling, took some time off for whatever reason, or was just really busy at work. Consistency was always something that kept coming up. One of my biggest goals was definitely to get a pull-up, and also the importance of integrating flexibility and mobility into my everyday routine. Another thing was clearly the impact that movement has on my mental health. Whether it's a walk, a hike, an intense workout, or some just very easy and gentle stretching. This is something that certainly hasn't changed for me. So, now that we've seen where we were before, let's catch up on where we are now, and whether those tiny habits have really helped to integrate consistency, flexibility, and strength training into my routine. So in my previous two videos of creating routines, I tried to create the perfect morning routine, and I also tried to create the perfect fitness routine. And there have been other things I've been trying to implement, like doing a weekly kitchen restock, my composting system, just trying to find ways to automate my habits so that things don't seem like such a chore, or it just makes it easier to do them because they're subconscious now. They're things that I just don't have to think about. But we're all human, and we know that implementing habits does really take time, or implementing them might not take time, but allowing them to really become true subconscious habits definitely does. So I wanted to share with you a lot of the routines that I have been working on in this one comprehensive video, and give you updates and share what has and has not been working for me. I have definitely got into a few bad habits recently, and we can talk about why that is, what sort of outside influences have meant that those bad habits have sort of crept in, and how that has impacted the rest of my habits and routines. I recently read a book called Fast Like a Girl, and although I'm not particularly interested in the idea of fasting, what really came out of this book as something that was very helpful for me was actually understanding my menstrual cycle and what that meant in terms of my physical well-being, my mental well-being, how tired I felt, how energetic I might feel, and just kind of basically understand a lot more about the hormones that are going on in my body and what that actually feels and looks like practically. That's also been something I've been trying to be aware of when thinking about habits and creating routines, because I've tried to make those habits kind of fit around, or those routines fit around that 28-day cycle. And it's really having a massive impact. And it has had a massive impact in most areas of my life, especially when it comes to work and focus, also how much effort I can put into my workouts. And when I'm feeling my best and in that perfect week for me, how much more I can push things. Like I have a lot more ideas. I can climb harder, I can squat heavier, I have a lot more mental focus. It's really been a ride for me, so hopefully this video will be interesting, going through all of the different routines, what has worked and what hasn't worked. But right now, I'm enjoying my morning coffee and I'm about to head to the gym, so we can talk about my goals in terms of fitness and how those routines have been working out for me. While I make my second coffee, I just want to take a little bit of time to talk about Copilot. I've been using Copilot for several months now, and it's been one of the things that has helped me to actually build that consistency with movement and the gym. When I'm not feeling my best, I find it very easy to just completely turn away from all the things that definitely make me feel better, like movement. But having a coach is like having an accountability partner. They check up on you to see why you may have missed a workout and to move things around for you to make things easier. The amount of times that I've had workouts changed for me is actually quite ridiculous, but the flexibility has allowed me to work at my own pace to ensure that on the days where I'm feeling extra tired, I just do some flexibility or mobility instead. But most importantly, it's been able to help me build consistency so that I can actually achieve goals rather than just thinking about them and kind of wondering why I haven't got there yet. If you've been thinking about joining Copilot or even just trying out a personal trainer for a while, if you click the link in my description, you can get a 14-day free trial with your own personal trainer and see if it helps you with consistency or meeting the goals that you might have. So recently my coach and I changed up my workouts to be even more functional. I want to be hiking up mountains and feeling really good and just being able to have the strength to just keep going. I've also been working so hard on my pull-ups and my chin-ups, doing things like banded pull-ups and scapular pull-ups. And then this was my workout today. I was feeling good and I thought I would just go for it because you might surprise yourself. And I did. Not only did I get my chin over the bar, I felt like I got it very high over the bar. And it gave me this unbelievable sense of motivation and satisfaction from all this effort I've been putting in over the past May, June, July, August, 4 months of hard work. My pull-up is almost there, but my chin-up is the thing that I am most proud of at the moment. Of course, I've been doing my leg workouts, again, really working my posterior chain, and my coach has been amazing in trying to get all of those practical workouts for me so that I can really make the most of my time when I'm in the gym. Because I don't like to be there forever, and I want my workouts to be as fun as possible. Because when they're fun, suddenly they don't feel like that much effort at all. I was clearly able to implement some sort of consistency into my life, but to be honest, I still think I have a long way to go. So let's talk about how I was able to achieve some of these goals while still working on that consistency and not quite being there yet. Good morning from my kitchen floor. I'm going to do a mobility routine this morning, or flexibility routine that's in my extras in my Copilot app, because flexibility and mobility was one thing that I was really interested and kind of determined to keep up, because it just makes me feel better when I'm moving and when I get up in the morning in particular. But I thought while I was doing that, getting that set up, we could talk a little bit more about motivation and habits and why motivation isn't necessarily something you should rely on. And this honestly goes back to thinking about my 28-day cycle and how those hormones really have a huge impact on my motivation. But even if you don't have a period, motivation is not something to be relied on because it is so fickle and goes up and down all the time. And this is why I constantly bang on about Tiny Habits. It's a really great book and it's a really great method for implementing things into your life. When it comes to, let's just take fitness for an example. Getting to the gym is not particularly difficult for me, but getting through an entire workout can often be challenging. So we've changed our workouts to be much shorter, and by making them shorter, we're just making them easier to complete mentally. Physically, I could complete the long workout, but mentally I find it very taxing to try and get through it all, especially when I am feeling a bit stressed. And the whole point of workouts and fitness for me is to feel less stressed and to have a really good relationship with my mental health through movement. So I personally don't think that motivation is something that should ever be relied upon, and instead we need to basically build systems throughout our life, in our routines, to ensure things get done or to ensure that we keep up with habits we want to do so that we don't have to even think about it. It just, as I said earlier, gets automated and doesn't rely on motivation to get done. I was in the process of creating the perfect morning routine, and there are some things that I have definitely stuck to, but there are also things that have just kind of fallen by the wayside. But the one positive thing that has come out of it is that I now no longer rely upon getting up early to still be productive throughout the day. So even if I wake up an hour and a half later than I ideally would like to, it doesn't have the same impact that it used to on my productivity throughout the day. And I kind of also think that Vlogos was really good for this too. You might be wondering why my coffee is in a sort of like hot reusable cup. And that's because he gets up an hour and a half before me. Well, doesn't usually, well no he does at the moment. At the moment for some reason I'm getting up late and I have no idea why. So he makes my coffee and he knows that I won't be right behind him, so he puts it in here to keep it warm for me. So cute. So the things that have been working, honestly, is just doing things through repetition. If I don't write down, like I have, if I don't write down a to-do list, like nothing is getting done. And the more I tick off, the more sort of satisfied I feel that I'm actually doing stuff, and then it promotes productivity for me. What else did I say? Oof, okay, let's do some stretching. And then we have a full body workout today. And I can tell you about my bad habits that I've been doing, which has impacted my morning routine, which is why I'm getting up a bit later. I've just been making English muffins. It's definitely an experiment, but one of the bad habits that I've been doing is scrolling on my phone in bed before going to sleep. And when I say scrolling, I mean like 2 hours, just like needing a way for my brain to kind of just like not think about anything and just kind of, but I've definitely chosen the wrong thing. Even though I haven't put up that many YouTube videos over the last just couple of weeks, I have been filming a lot and editing a lot. I've been really trying to work hard to get a lot of stuff done, especially since I just went away for 9 days. I was trying to get stuff done for when I was away as well. I think when I get overwhelmed with a lot of work and stuff, I need something in the evenings to just kind of really help me decompress. But I've been editing until like 10 p.m. and then getting into bed and wanting to just like scroll for a few hours before going immediately to bed, because I know in the morning I get up, when I wake up, I have to just start editing again. And so that definitely put me into a few pretty bad habits. So it's kind of unsurprising as to why my morning routine has been a little bit messed up. At least I've been able to identify those habits and find ways to combat them. I'm definitely going to try this thing that my friend Jess mentioned. It's like this app on your phone that prevents you from going on social media and things like that. So do that, and also maybe do an evening walk again. I think one of the big reasons why I haven't been walking as much is because the temperatures in Denver have been between like 30 and 40, and that's just like very difficult for my little English self to deal with. But anyway, it's too hot for those t-shirts. I'm gonna get changed and head to the gym for a full body workout. These are always my most fun workouts. Keep them interesting, multi-movements, and really helps me to get off my phone and sort of get out of my head as well. Just a reminder, if you're interested in a 14-day free trial with Copilot, then click the link in the description. Dealing with the compost is definitely not my favorite thing, and I find it hard to, well, I used to find it hard to get it done, but I've put in a few systems to make sure that that routine is something that always gets done before it gets disgusting. There are always going to be certain areas in our lives, in our, routines that we just don't like doing, and I found that the best way to overcome that is to take the emotion out of it so that you can just create systems and just get it done without thinking, oh, I really want to do this. Just kind of automate those habits. When it comes to composting, the way that I've done that is to just have a very specific day so that it's only a maximum of 7 days of collecting compost in our, countertop bin. And then on that day, if the worms aren't ready for food, then I will put them in a brown paper bag that we're reusing and put it in the freezer. And then once the worms are ready, I will take it out the freezer to defrost and then put it straight into the worms, mix it up, and then we're done. The other part of the composting that I really don't like is obviously then cleaning the bin that sits on the counter, but it's so important for keeping the kitchen clean and hygienic. So it's just one of those things that one thing sets off another thing. Just like with the morning routine, when I would wake up early, that would be the trigger for being very productive throughout the rest of the day. And although that has changed slightly, it still is very much a trigger for me. When I wake up early, I will get so much more done than if I don't. But as I said earlier in this video, I've managed to build systems that mean I get a lot of work done, or the things that I need to get done, regardless of whether I get up. So having those things in place is just so important. I'm not sure what to do with the worms because the temperatures are getting colder now. My garden routine is definitely going to change now that everything is starting to kind of die back. But the worms definitely have a few other little bugs in there that I don't particularly want to bring into the house. So I really have to decide what I'm going to do with that. My worms are also interesting. Instead of migrating upwards, they are migrating downwards, even though I followed all the rules. But I just have to alternate the trays in a different way. So when it's on top, they all go down. Who knows why? But that means that the castings are almost ready to come out because there are only a couple of worms left in there, but they're going down, which is excellent. So that's just something I have to figure out. But in my next routines video, it's going to be all about creating a financial routine around budgeting and just having those sort of set things and systems in place that I'm always on top of our budget, what we're spending, our bills, unexpected costs, all that kind of stuff. So if you are interested, please subscribe and like this video so that you never miss another one. As we are getting into late summer, beginning of autumn, I'm going to be doing another Zero Waste Habits video I do in a different season because the seasons obviously change my habits and the things that need to get done also change too. So if you're interested in that, also check that out. Okay, thank you so much for watching and I will see you next time.